Hey everybody, welcome back to History Student Reacts. Today we're watching Rome Season 2, Episode 3, these being the words of Marcus Tullius Cicero. Now last time we saw Octavian leave Rome as the battle between him and Mark Antony emerged out into the open. We also saw Vorenus essentially become a deranged mob boss as we found out that his family actually did survive. We'll get to see more of this drama and tension in this episode. Now, if you guys are watching on YouTube and you would like to see the full unedited versions of these reactions and see them early, then you can check those out on my Patreon, which is linked down below. And if you are watching on Patreon, thank you so much for all of the support. And so with that, we're going to jump right into this reaction.
You all right? Looking pointy.
Some news from Ostia.
3 grain ships from Alex and Musso's people.
Have a cup of wine. Set you up.
Take 25, no less. Give the lading to Ajax.
Well, Musso will complain.
He does cut out his tongue. You think I'm joking?
I'll see to it now.
Jeez. I mean, look, Vorenus was always a bit of a disciplinarian, right? We saw that during his time with the legions, but now he's sort of taken it to another level.
Vorenus. Nothing.
Memio of the Kalians here. He asked to see you.
I mean, we saw he was a disciplinarian, but we also saw he was unwilling to do, you know, some of the dirty work of the trade that he is now very much in, right? So, a changed man, obviously.
Salve, Memio. Please sit down.
Weather's turning, eh? I like a bit of heat.
What brings you to the Aventine, Memio?
No chit-chat, straight to cases, I like that. A young nephew of my colleague Carbo here was defiled by an Aventine man, name of Quintus Bubbo. You know him?
I know him.
With your permission, Carbo wishes to avenge his family's...
So, I mean, this is the role that Antony wanted Vorenus to take, right? There was chaos on the Aventine, essentially an all-out gang war, or at least a brewing gang war. Antony wanted the depressed and nothing to lose Vorenus to show up, assert himself, and sort of control the situation, which is what he's doing now.
honor and kill this Quintus.
Boy's only 12. Was sucking his cock for pennies.
He was paid then.
Yes, but he didn't ask me first.
The boy was paid.
Nobody in my family sucks cock without I say so.
Carbo is from respectable people.
Uh-huh.
The boy took money. He was working as a prostitute. Quintus Bubbo's committed no offense. You won't touch him.
Brother Vorenus, perhaps you misunderstand.
I misunderstand nothing, brother. I've been given a strict mandate by Mark Antony to maintain the peace. Quintus Bubbo is a man of property and respect. You will not touch him.
Money or not, though, he took advantage of the boy. I mean, perhaps some moderate form of punishment.
We come to you out of politeness, a mere formality.
I've given you my answer.
Wrong fucking answer. This man got pieces on my name, on my family honor.
Control your man, Memio.
Vorenus, the man has a fair point.
Silence, Pullo.
Brother Vorenus, in all candor, even your own man knows.
Our man doesn't know when to keep his mouth shut.
Come on. Pullo is your brother in arms, right? You know, like, I mean, you shouldn't be treating him like this. You know, I don't know. Vorenus, I don't like to see him like this.
Shut.
And Pullo, you don't have to take this, my man.
I've given you my decision.
You know, there's also the, Machiavelli quote, it's better to be loved and feared, but if only one, it's better to be feared. Whatever it is, I forget. But Machiavelli basically says you want to be loved and feared, loved and respected. If you can only have one, you'd rather be feared. You know, perhaps that's true. I think right now Vorenus is definitely feared by these other gangs, but that comes with its downsides, which is perhaps if he upsets them too much, that could cause some serious issues. The chaos that Mark Antony is trying to avoid, right? I mean, Vorenus is here to keep the peace. He is riling them up a little bit here. You know, in the long run, that could erupt into a serious problem.
And we graciously accept your judgment. I thank you for your time, and I apologize for the disruption.
You didn't have to insult me in front of
Do
the
not
lights.
question my authority in front of others. Do not question my authority under any circumstance.
Authority.
Hold your breath. It's horrid. In a minute, you'll feel delicious. You know Jocasta?
Do I?
We met at the theatre last...
Mom just walked in on you smoking weed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're actually smoking. Maybe someone who knows a bit more can clarify what sort of ancient substance, but that's a funny scene.
You know Jocasta?
Do I?
We met at the theatre last year. I was with...
What are you doing?
We're inhaling hemp.
I
Oh.
can see that.
Okay.
You're making the whole house stink.
I was not far off.
In future, do it outside if you must.
Yes, Mother.
Is it any good?
Excellent.
Of course. Of course.
You came in very late last night.
Business.
Business involved.
I imagine it could be maybe a little awkward between those two, right? I mean, I believe the last time she saw her son, he was in a knockdown, drag-out fight, or a knockout, drag-down fight with Antony right here. I mean, they were really scrapping with each other. So, perhaps there's a bit of awkwardness around this relationship now, with Octavian and Antony essentially being at each other's throats, whether literally or maybe more figuratively.
Involving wine, vomit, and sex.
I'm sorry. Did I disturb you?
Not at all. Do please wake me before you come at me, so it would be a little less alarming. I was thinking about Macedonia.
Were you?
Do we have to go? Can't we just stay here?
No. Once my consulship is over, we're gone.
But it's so far from Rome.
We have dressmakers and jewel merchants in Odessa, just like here.
Once you are gone from Italy, your enemies will no longer fear you, and you will be powerless to strike at them.
Interesting. So Atia is showing she's thought about this a little more deeply than just the social aspect. So this is interesting because there's a couple things at play here, right? So Antony, once his consulship is over, he loses a lot of his official powers and protections. And in order to retain some of those protections, especially protection from being, prosecuted by his enemies, he's going to take a governorship out in Macedonia. So this is a way to protect himself and maintain his position. But Atia is right that it's going to lessen his influence in Rome. I mean, if he really wanted to keep his influence at an all-time high, he'd have to take a pretty major move, right? Follow in Caesar's footsteps. But if he's more interested in sort of maintaining his position and protecting himself at maybe a lower level, then the governorship is the right way to go. Now, the show doesn't exactly follow history to the detail. I will say, Antony ends up going for a governorship in a different province than Macedonia in the real history, and there's a whole thing surrounding it. So I am curious to see, because Atia is saying, well, you shouldn't go that far away. I wonder if we're leading towards the actual province that Antony wants to govern over.
I don't want to strike at them. There's no juice in it anymore. I want peace and quiet and a nice rich province to squeeze.
Peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
While you are swilling wine in Macedonia, do you think Brutus and Cassius will be idle?
Those abject creatures.
Abject only while you have power. Your enemies will not rest until you are dead.
I mean, she is right, though I can understand Antony's perspective, right? He feels he's so decisively pushed them out of the city. You know, he made this deal for their amnesty. He was able to protect himself. He feels like he sort of whipped the Senate into line. They've been sent away. Antony probably feels like, you know what, I did it. Let's just get out of here. But, you know, Atia is actually right. You know, this is the case that they are still plotting and scheming and trying to return to the fold.
You have a wolf by the ears. You cannot let go of him now. Pass the oil, would you?
You know, Antony, he's thinking to himself here. We'll see what he decides to do. But we've seen, right, when Antony was with Caesar, Caesar had far more of an eye for politics than Antony did. Caesar was a lot more skilled, even though he got killed in the end, right? Antony, not to say he has no mind for politics, he does to a certain extent. He has always been more of a straightforward guy. Following the death of Caesar, we saw sort of Octavian took that place of the political planner. Right? Octavian, I think, even more than his uncle Julius Caesar, had a mind for politics. Right? I mean, that's really his main skill. That'll get him through the entirety of his life. And so Octavian took that position. Antony was sort of following. Once again, not entirely accurate to the real history of the era. I talked about how Octavian actually had to come back to Rome after the assassination. So he did not play as big of a role in this sort of post-assassination planning as it was portrayed here. But regardless, the sort of dynamic is somewhat correct. So now we'll see what Antony decides to do with what he's got. I think Atia feels she's gotten through to him.
Justice, Captain! I beg for justice!
Who's this?
Quintus Bubo and his wife, gelded by Memmios, boys.
Yep. You knew this was coming, right? They clearly were not going to take this sitting down, even though Vorenus tried to enforce his rule. Now he's got to decide what to do with this. Remember, his overall goal for Mark Antony was to keep the peace. So we'll see how that works. How?
Please, Captain, justice!
Come on, calm down, brother. The old man shouldn't have been goating around anyhow.
Memio disobeyed me.
I didn't kill the old fool, at least.
He disobeyed me!
Let me go talk to Memio. I'll sort out a compromise.
No.
If you punish Carbo over this trivia,
Yep.
Memio's going to take it as disrespect.
So, oh, wow, this is so funny. You know, I said earlier, you know, Vorenus has always been a disciplinarian. Pullo has always been one who's sort of the more chill of the two. And that dynamic is sort of maintained, but in other ways, their dynamic is somewhat flipped, where Vorenus here, frankly, he's letting his anger get the better of him, his anger and also perhaps his intent to protect his territory, right? He's so riled up by this, he's ready to undermine the entire piece he set up. Whereas Pullo, who's usually the more happy-go-lucky kind of guy, he's frankly got his eye on the prize, which is, trying to keep the situation working. He frankly suggested a compromise at that first meeting. He still wants to compromise. Now, maybe you could argue, well, that shows weakness on their part, and they'll keep being taken advantage of. I don't know. But I do think Pullo does have more of an eye towards the essential goal, which is trying to avoid the chaos that was happening before Vorenus showed up. So, this is fascinating.
Debate me!
Let me go talk to Memio. I'll sort out a compromise.
No.
If you punish Carbo over this trivia, Memio's going to take it as disrespect. He'll have to retaliate. You'll start a gang war.
Very likely. But I got no choice, and it's your fault.
What? How is it my fault?
You questioned my authority.
Oh, come on.
And gave him license to disobey me.
Oh, bollocks.
And you go and find Carbo. You show him the same disrespect that he's shown me.
Everyone is in the wrong here.
I gave you an order.
This isn't the Mumpin Legion. I take orders from no man.
And you're no use to me. You, don't do it.
Will do, Captain.
This is...
You are thinking all backwards.
You about questioning my authority. You learn your place.
My place? Well, fuck you, you miserable bastard. I'm the one trying to keep you alive. Oh, you'd like nothing better than to start a gang war, eh? Get yourself killed, put an end to all your misery, take half the city with you. Well, I tell you what. You can die 1,000 times and it won't bring back Nivy or the children or Caesar.
Those are fighting words, but Pullo's so right. Pullo's so right. It's a shame to see what's happening here. Pullo's looking out for Vorenus. He's trying to protect him. Vorenus, he's so angry. He's so miserable. He just wants to take them all down.
It'll put an end to all your misery. Take half the city with you. Well, I tell you what. You can die 1,000 times and it won't bring back Nivy or the children or Caesar. Listen, I'm your friend. I'm trying to help you.
You never helped me.
Not true.
Have I not? Well, who saved your life 12 times? Who took care of that snake Evander? Who carried you home when you were drunk?
What do you mean?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Took care of Evander.
Nothing.
Pullo!
Doesn't mean anything.
What do you mean?
Pullo.
Speak.
I killed him. I found out what he'd done. I killed him. Listen, she loved you. You were happy together. What was I supposed to do? If I'd told you, you would have killed her. Get out!
Yeah, this is done.
What was I supposed to do?
Out.
No secrets remain secrets in this show. When we found out about what happened with Niobe, I knew eventually it was going to come out. It did, and she died for it. When this secret between Pullo and Octavian, when we saw this, I just knew it was going to come out eventually, and it did, right? No secrets remain secrets. The show is setting you up for a reveal, and you could have known it would end like this, right? It's a shame, I think. Now, I think generally Vorenus is being a little unreasonable because he's angry and depressed. On this one, I understand, right? I mean, I understand why I absolutely would have wanted to know. Pullo shouldn't have said that. That's a secret I would have taken to my grave. But at the same time, I do think Pullo, he was trying to protect his friend, right? He did what he did. But these two, I think, are done for this foreseeable future. We might see them come back together eventually. They always do. But this relationship has taken an end. Maybe temporary, maybe permanent. It's not like Vorenus was treating Pullo well anyway, to be honest. It was his time to go.
Atia thrives, I trust. She does.
Here we go. So we've got Antony here to work out perhaps a compromise or some other situation with Cicero, who is, I often say this, in some ways representative of the Senate, but in some ways representative of just himself. I mean, he was a force unto himself, of course.
And the rest of the family?
Good enough.
Yes, a surprising boy, isn't he? Octavian. Such vim and vigor for one so young. They say it's a considerable army he's raised.
Yep. What do you think? Okay, this is great. So, we're not seeing this, and in all the comments, everyone's telling me that, you know, essentially they had to rush the last season of the show. There's so much they weren't able to show, blah, blah, blah. I get that. It is what it is. So, we're not seeing Octavian right now, but what he's doing, and this is accurate, is that Octavian has left. He's on his own. He's gathering up a private army. And Octavian and his men are going to come into play in an important moment, right? Obviously, Octavian is angling to get involved in Roman politics once again.
Hang up all the fools and cripples in Campania is hardly raising an army.
You are right, no doubt. But many veterans also.
Yeah, who do you think were a lot of those guys joining up with Octavian? Well, they were veterans of Caesar, right? I mean, what is the most important thing Octavian has? It's that he was named the heir of Caesar, right? He's the inheritors of Caesar's legacy. He knows that, and we've already said Octavian was very politically minded. He's embracing that, you know? He takes on that mantle. He has a lot of these Caesarian veterans join him. These guys who were so loyal to Caesar. I mean, we saw the kind of loyalty Caesar inspired among his men. And a lot of the people of Rome, they've now been left aimless, you know, idle, perhaps not getting what they were once promised. Well, Octavian, he's a solution, right? He represents the continuation of Julius Caesar. Maybe he can fulfill those promises. Maybe he can give them a purpose, something to fight for, right? Octavian is an attractive figure, even if he hasn't proved himself quite yet. You know, he hasn't proved himself militarily. He hasn't even proved himself politically, right? Now, we've seen him throughout the show. We know he's got a sharp mind, but he hasn't proved himself in the public arena of politics quite yet. But he's getting there.
8th Legion, men. 7th Legion.
Sat on their backsides, taking his money to cheer him as he goes by. Caesar, my arse. But I didn't bring you here to talk of children.
Indeed. I await your pleasure.
Oh. I love that little move. We're getting a good sense of the dynamic here, right? The sort of fidgety, posh Cicero, who's always got a quip ready, some remark, and Antony, who can make him flinch by just standing up. Yeah, it's a great way to show the dynamic, right? Cicero has political power. He has power generally. He's got authority. Antony, though, he is a physical threat in two ways, right? One, he's a military man. He can gather a legion, march on the city. He frightens some of these senators. A lot of them, actually. Secondly, Antony is literally a physical threat right in front of Cicero. So, great way to show that.
Sure.
Antony's reminding him of that.
When my term as consul is over.
So this is great. So, I mean, this is, showing who's the boss, right? This is very reminiscent of something LBJ would do, right? President Lyndon B. Johnson of the United States. In order to show it, you're the one in charge, everyone around you has to do what you say, LBJ would sometimes, while having conversations with the politicians, lead them into the bathroom and take a piss while he was talking to them, right? Now, it's funny because you'd think, shouldn't the guy taking the piss in front of someone be the one embarrassed? But that's what it's about, is proving I can do whatever the hell I want, and you've got to listen to me, right? So that's what Antony's doing here, right? He's saying, I can do whatever I want. I can piss on your damn plant. You've got to listen to me, right? It's it's a tactic.
I no longer wish to take the governorship of Macedonia. I wish to take Gaul.
But Decimus is governor of Gaul.
Oh, you can have Macedonia if you like.
Yep, and this is the question. And I was saying this earlier, Antony did not end up taking the governorship of Macedonia. He heads towards Cisalpine Gaul, right? That's a province. Cisalpine means on this end of the Alps, right? So that is Gaul on the Italian side of the Alps, essentially. Transalpine Gaul is Gaul on the other side of the Alps, right? He says Gaul right here, but Antony, he wants Cisalpine Gaul, right? That means he's still in close proximity to Rome. So he's out of the city, yes, but he's close by. He can raise a couple of legions, march back down. If they do anything he doesn't like, he's much closer. In a world like this, proximity is important. It means he can maintain his influence. Now, that's exactly why Cicero and a lot of these senators want him to go to Macedonia. They want him out of the way, right? So this is creating a problem for them.
Take the governorship of Macedonia. I wish to take Gaul.
But Decimus is governor of Gaul.
Oh, you can have Macedonia if you like. I want Gaul. The weather's better.
I'm afraid that will be difficult. The Senate may suppose you plan to emulate Caesar, camping your legions on our borders.
Exactly.
Enough to Rome to scare us into doing anything you wish.
Steady on. Hadn't even crossed my mind. I just prefer Gaul.
He's so funny.
But you understand why the Senate would not pass such a measure.
You are the Senate, Cicero.
Right. I love this too. Like I said, Cicero represents himself. He also represents the damn Senate. And so Cicero's saying, well, the Senate, it's funny. Cicero, we know, moderate Cicero, he never wants to put himself out there. He's saying, well, the Senate would never do this. And Antony's saying, well, you're the Senate, so if you do, then they will.
I just prefer...
It's not always true, but often.
But you understand why the Senate would not pass such a measure.
You are the Senate, Cicero. The next time we meet, perhaps you will propose my governorship of Gaul. No one can make any trouble if the noble Cicero is backing me.
Don't think that's a good idea.
No?
Not that I do not wish to help you. As a friend. But the Senate would know I was backing you only through fear of death.
I understand. You do not want to seem cowardly.
I love that he says that. Oh, this is so good. I love these exchanges. He says, you do not want to seem cowardly. Because they both know he is cowardly, right? It's not a question of whether he is or is not cowardly. It's not you don't want to be cowardly. It's you don't want to seem cowardly.
Through fear of death.
Oh, I understand. You do not want to seem cowardly. Tell them I bribed you. Would you accept a bribe?
I would not.
No. Rich enough, huh? It's always worth a try. Well, you leave me only one option, then.
Cicero, he was a big... The thing about Cicero is he's sort of known as one of these incorruptible guys who wouldn't take bribes, and, he was an advocate against that sort of thing. But that's never entirely true, right? He would take bribes, let me tell you. He was part of a corrupt political system. He was corrupt himself, but he was a bit of a campaigner against some of this corruption and these bribes. Frankly, I think watching this show, you might wonder, how the hell did this guy Cicero become so important? He seems like a total weenie. But, just to be fair to him, in the real history, he's a great speaker, he is quite a charismatic guy, he's a good deal maker, and he did gain popular support through campaigning. against corruption and things like that, and campaigning on the sanctity of the Republic, and so he was a pretty popular figure, right? He had a lot of support. I think he's sort of, like I said, not portrayed super favorably in the show, but also not super inaccurately. Like, I do think they represent his position pretty fairly in a lot of these episodes, but just to give you a little more background.
It's always worth a try. Oh, you leave me only one option, then.
It always comes to this.
I know.
It does.
I'm sorry. Such times we live in.
Please go on. Make your threats. I don't like to submit to mere implication.
It's, you know, it does always come to this. And Antony says, such times we live in. And there's two parts to this. One is, yes, this is a time of political violence, mob violence, threats, coercion. He's absolutely right. I will say, two is, this is how Antony operates. I think this shows you that Antony was not an incredibly sophisticated political mind. Because, you know, there is an issue with threats. One is that you breed the resentment of everyone who you threaten. And if they ever get the opportunity to fight back, or if they become stronger than you, you're in a lot of trouble. Now, I think Caesar sometimes could work around this, but in the end, he became too brazen, right? Too much of the big man on top. Some of those threats became a little too open, and they killed him for it. Octavian will learn from that, and he's a master at politically maneuvering, so he doesn't have to usually make the overt threats or commit the overt violence. Not saying never, he absolutely did. Octavian was quite a brutal operator throughout his career, but he was better at those more subtle political negotiations, and that's a talent that Antony doesn't have. Even when Antony is making sort of a smart political move, he can only enforce it through violence or threats of violence.
Make your threats. I don't like to submit to mere implication.
There is a question I've always wanted to ask you. Your old friend Crassus, when he was captured by the Parthians, is it true that they poured molten gold down his throat? Because that would really sting.
Thank you. It is correct what you say. The weather in Macedonia is...
Oh, Cicero.
Dreadful.
Cowardly as ever. I do like that. It's somewhat funny to me. He said, I don't want the mere implication of a threat. Give me the threat. Even though they knew what would happen. Oh. Uh-oh. Why are you back?
I thought maybe you'd want to know a bit more than what I said.
I don't.
You should know Nybe wasn't. She wasn't.
Don't speak of her. It's in the past. It's done.
Brother, I'm sorry I kept it from you. I thought it was for the best. I'm sorry.
I forgive you, brother. I understand why you didn't tell me.
Wait, really? Maybe I misjudged this. I frankly thought Vorenus wanted him gone. Like, gone. Maybe I misunderstood?
I thought it was for the best.
He's seeming
I'm sorry.
frighteningly reasonable.
I forgive you, brother. I understand why you didn't tell me. I understand.
I hear you say that, but...
I mean it. I forgive you.
This is too good to be true.
How can I not forgive you, Pullo? You're all I've got left in life.
Whoa. He looks pissed.
Keeping me alive, eh?
Speaking of that, this business with the Kalians.
What of it?
We can still stop it turning into a war. Let Carbo pay a fine. If I go and talk quietly to Memio, we can sort it out so that no one loses face.
You suggested that before.
Worth a go. Better than a war.
You may be right. You may be, but it's too late now.
Okay, I don't like this vibe from Vorenus. It's a little scary. You know, he's given the, I'm so calm, I'm so magnanimous, yet I'm right next to erupting into a boiling rage. So I guess we'll see.
Move.
Well, that'll start a war.
Tell your mistress I have a message from her son.
Piss and blood.
Forgive the intrusion. I was entranced.
Who are you?
I am Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa.
Oh, Agrippa! What the? This is Agrippa? Okay.
A friend of Caesar. Of Octavian, as was. Have I the honor of speaking to his sister Octavia?
Yes. Is my brother here? There's nothing wrong, is there? He's all right.
No. Yes. I mean, no, he's not here, but yes, he's well. I left him 5 days ago, thriving.
Okay, Agrippa. Wow, interesting. Okay, Agrippa, I mean, he's extremely important to this story. I'm sure we'll see as we go, but he is essentially Octavian's partner in crime, right? These two are a great duo. So, you know, if this is at all close to the actual history, Agrippa should be an important character through this season.
Is this the messenger?
This is Agrippa, a friend of Octavian.
Deeply honored.
And so?
He asked that I make certain you are well and to assure you of his respect and fidelity.
We're very well.
Formal.
And as for his respect and fidelity...
He begs that in the name of family, you keep an open mind as to your future prospects.
You came all the way from Campania to say that?
I have other business.
With whom?
I am not at liberty to say.
Oh. Intrigue, is it? I imagine you're a master. Does Mark Antony know that you're in the city?
I expect there are a great many citizens whose location is unknown to the consul.
True. But he does like to know where the traitors are.
Mother.
Well, they are traitors, aren't they? Antony is...
Atia, you're gonna have to pick your side. That's all I'm gonna say.
consul in Rome, and Octavian is deliberately challenging him. This is not a traitor, I don't know what is.
I have said what I must. I will take your leave to go.
Tell my son I... No.
Thing is, Atia... Atia... Okay, look. I think sometimes I simplify her a little too much, right? She does have political instincts. I do think her main goal is maintaining sort of her social standing. But, like I said, she has some political instincts. She's not blind to what's going on. But I do think she is driven a lot by sort of personal slights. And I think mainly she's sort of offended that Octavian challenged Antony, which she sort of saw as challenging her, right? The whole thing with all the money, and then left. I think she's sort of personally offended and hurt.
I have said what I must. I will take your leave to go.
Tell my son I... No. Tell him nothing. Send to tell Antony that Marcus Agrippa is in the city.
Mother, no. Who knows what Antony will do to him?
Nothing pleasant, I would think.
He is your son's friend.
I have no son.
Wow. Damn. Like, what? But I don't, you know, this is just such spiteful behavior, right? Think about it. I suppose what you have to lose is perhaps Antony finds out you met with Agrippa and he's angry with you. I don't think that seems very likely. What you have to lose by turning him in is your relationship with your son. You know, I mean, even if you're angry at him personally, Octavian has raised a fairly significant army. He's an important person. He's the inheritor of Caesar's legacy. Do you really want to alienate him like this? It doesn't seem wise.
So you're Servilia then, are you? Choice. Very choice.
Address me by my name again, and I'll have your tongue nailed to a wagon wheel.
Forgive me. I've not spoken to nobility before.
What do you want, Servilia?
What's his name?
Duro.
Duro. Eleni was right. You're a pretty little man, aren't you? You've been in the house of the Julii for some time now. Why is Atia still alive?
Trouble's finding the right time. They always eat together, her and the daughter. If you don't mind killing the young cunny, I can do it tomorrow.
No. No harm to the girl.
Okay.
Well then.
This guy is quite a character. Servilia still out for more revenge? How much more revenge could you get? I mean, you literally played a role in Caesar getting killed. I thought that's what you wanted. Now, I mean, we know she doesn't like Atia, but now you're set on killing her as well? This revenge plot continues, eh?
If I could only put the poison on Antony's cock, we'd be sweet. The domina dines on that regular. Failing that, you'll have to be patient.
Do you have any foul jokes to tell me? Why you come here?
Shekels, Queen, shekels.
He wants money. Has he not already been paid?
The job's taking longer than we thought.
Wow.
Let's be fair, eh?
Wow.
Give him what he asks.
Make it 300.
He is, he's out there. He's got no fear for his own safety, I guess. Or at least is very confident.
Wait. Give me a kiss before I go.
Bro, you're pushing it.
Excuse me.
Kiss me.
You are pushing it.
I don't think so.
You want this woman dead? Kiss me.
Brother. You are pushing it, I think, frankly, past the limit. Jeez, Servilia. This desperate to get Atia killed, eh? Bithynia.
That's very good. So
they want to send Antony to Macedonia, where he won't be going. But these two are even further out. I'm sure Brutus is having a lovely time.
We could return to the subject of money. Please bear in mind, Your Excellency, that those that help us now will have good friends in Rome when Mark Antony, the traitor, is deposed. Very good friends. It's only a matter of time. With or without your help, we shall raise an army. We shall. Antony's head will rot on a spike.
There are Roman women who are fucked by baboons.
Excuse me?
I've heard shows where such things can be seen.
So you see, these two, these conspirators, you know, as we said, they're trying to gather themselves, raise an army, and march back in to, I don't know what you want to call it, save the Republic, you know, entrench themselves in power, whatever. So they're trying, and right now not having much luck, so they're going to try and work with some local allies. Maybe that'll get them somewhere.
I killed him. I did.
Uh-oh.
I had to. You know, it's in my blood. My ancestor dethroned
He's drunk.
the tyrant Tarquin.
I understand there were a great many who stabbed your Caesar.
This is true.
I delivered the final blow.
Seems a bit cowardly, no?
You say what?
He was wounded already, dying, defenseless, alone. And you stepped in yet again.
Yeah, I will say, speaking of cowardly, you know, the actual assassination of Caesar. We saw this a little bit in the show where no one wanted to make a move. Then the second one person goes, a bunch jump in. But I was going to say, even more cowardly, there were a bunch of those conspirators. Because remember, there were only a few who landed blows on Caesar while he was alive. There were many conspirators. There were a bunch who, after Caesar was already dead, they got a stab in, or they got their hands in the blood, or whatever, because they wanted to act like they had been part of it. Of course, then, in the coming days and weeks, a lot of those people took a step back and were like, whoa, it's now not advantageous to be associated with that murder. But in the moment, a lot of these guys, even though they hadn't done anything, wanted to pretend, oh yeah, I was in there stabbing at him. Only a couple actually were. And Brutus was one of them.
Killing him was a necessity, a necessary and noble act.
Perhaps I shall find a fresh corpse to stab and become great myself.
Well, you dare to insult me?
Whoa, Brutus, you drunk, buddy.
Excuse me.
Senator of Rome. Stand up. Stand up!
Brutus, perhaps we should get some air.
This dog insults me.
Dog, he says? I'm a dog.
Excuse us, ladies.
So, see, we're getting, you know, a look into this relationship here, where you have these senators of Rome who come out to the provinces, and, of course, we talked about this civilizing narrative. They feel they're better than everyone else. They feel they're the center of civilization. Everyone else are essentially barbarians. Turns out, that's not how everybody else sees it. You know what I mean? You go to other parts of the world, and people tend to feel that their region of the world is most important, or at least they're not lesser than other people's. And so you encounter, you know, aristocracy or whatever important people in the social hierarchy, and you get a bit of a clash sometimes.
Stand up!
Brutus, perhaps we should get some air.
This dog insults.
We were getting pretty close to the Persian Empire of the time, but I don't know. I think we're beyond the border of that. I mean, I believe they're in a Roman province, but we are sort of close to the Persian world at this point in this location.
It's me.
Dog, he says? I'm a dog.
Excuse us, it's the wine, the heat. Now, we are guests here looking for favor.
Favor? I ask no favor of such animals.
Oh, Brutus.
Control yourself, you fool.
Hey, call me a coward.
Yeah, it only hurts because you believe it.
I am a senator.
Oh, God. Brutus, not in a good place.
My friend, you have lost your way.
Brutus.
Leave me alone!
That delivery. Sorry, that was funny. I think the real Brutus did also lose his way to a certain extent. This is someone who was close with Caesar. You know, perhaps he felt it was necessary to kill him. I think he may have felt guilty. I think we see the actual figure of Brutus through history was someone who... It's hard to judge, right? Someone from that long ago, but does seem like someone who perhaps lost his way. Maybe wasn't all too committed to this whole thing. You know, maybe would have rather... But what I'm saying is, I think the depiction here is also sort of how I read the character of Brutus in history. Once again, we don't have the sources to really shape exactly what he was like, but this is kind of how I read him. Someone who was, you know, from this important family, liked his position, was close to Caesar, maybe felt, you know, it was somewhat necessary to participate in this, but also was perhaps pressured into it because of his family name. Maybe he felt guilty afterwards, maybe he was just upset by the consequences, and was maybe not that committed to this whole thing, just wanted to get back to Rome, resume his position, right, live a normal life. That's kind of how I interpret him as well, and that's how this show generally interprets him.
Did you get my message?
About?
Octavian's man, Marcus Agrippa.
Oh, yes. I know all about him.
Well, did you catch him?
There's no need.
But he's up to no good.
I know exactly what he's up to.
Yeah, this is funny. I will say, I don't know, and this is where, I don't know the step-by-step of the history, and also I don't know what sources we have to back this up. I don't know if Marcus Agrippa was individually sent as a messenger. I feel that's unlikely, but maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong. You can tell me down below. But like I said, Marcus Agrippa, he will be Octavian's number 2, his right-hand man. So he's an important guy.
Oh, yes. I know all about him.
Well, did you catch him?
There's no need.
But he's up to no good.
I know exactly what he's up to. Octavian sent him to meet secretly with Cicero, hoping to form an alliance against me.
Well, then.
Cicero will refuse. I have my foot on his throat. And I'm happy for your son to know it.
See, and this is also replicating a real situation that was really shaping up at this time, where Antony, he's clearly a bit of an authoritarian, right? He forces people around with violence and threats of violence. You know, he wants to go to Cisalpine Gaul, rule that province, even though he's already a governor. And Octavian, we've already talked about, he's a little more political, he's a little more subtle. He's willing to make alliances with anyone who will help him in that moment. And so Octavian's kind of sidling up to the Senate, to Cicero. Maybe they can form an alliance against Antony. Now, it's sort of forming as we see it here, and in the actual history, it would really blow up at a certain point. Not quite yet. I imagine that's also what they're going for here.
What will become of Octavian?
Oh, don't worry yourself. I'll not harm him.
Swear it.
On Jupiter's stone. He's family.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, buddy.
Get through. Pass Lucius to me.
Where are they gonna go?
Hey, come here!
Oh no. Oh no. Wait, what? She did not just run, did she? From the kids?
Oh, Gaia.
No shot. Dude, originally I thought the guards might have got her, but no, it looks like they got the kids, caught them, and she started running? Oh, man. What?
Are we sure that it's Memio's work?
Killian coin in his mouth.
Call on assembly.
Here we go.
So, you think we should ignore this, I suppose?
No, you wanted a war, you got it. You have to fight now.
You don't think you should go and talk to Memio?
Oh, come
Finally
on.
compromise?
It's too late for that.
Surely he'd listen to you, wouldn't he?
Are you saying I'm with Memio?
I didn't say it. You did. Quick as Mercury.
Oh, come on.
Brother, can't you see what's happening to you?
Oh, no, I can't see it, brother. What is happening to me? What is it that you can see so clear that I can't?
A demon. A demon has possessed you, or I don't know what.
You see a demon, is it? What does it look like?
Listen to yourself, man. Me and Memio, how could you think that? I'm your friend. I love you. I would never betray you.
Lying to me, going behind my back.
It was never like that.
What was it like then, eh? You tell me. Did you enjoy fucking my wife?
What?
Is that why you didn't tell me?
Dude, Vorenus, he's out of his mind. I'm telling you. Yeah, I said it earlier. He's way too calm. He's close to snapping. Here it is.
Behind my back.
It was never like that.
What was it like then, eh? You tell me. Did you enjoy fucking my wife?
What?
Is that why you didn't tell me? Because you were fucking her?
You have stepped over the line.
You fuck my wife. I'm asking you a question.
Get out of my
I am
way.
asking you a question.
What does it matter what I say? You're not going to believe me.
If you're telling the truth, then I will believe you.
Vorenus, on the bones of my mother, there was nothing between me and Niobe. Nothing, never.
I don't believe you. Tell me the truth.
All right, I fucked her, all right? I fucked her, me and half the men of the hill. Anytime you were away, bang, legs open, line at the door.
There we go. You can see this coming. Oh, you don't like to see this. Oh God. Oh God. Don't. Don't! Y'all have saved each other countless times. Come on, man. Pullo, just get out of there.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Come on. Brutus, you're in a bad state, brother. This is tragic. Oh, man. I mean, I get it, but he's still at the same place he was when Niobe died and his family left/were taken. Nothing's changed.
Where are we going now?
I don't know. Anywhere. Away from this damn place.
Unfortunately, it's, you know, it's the right move. You know, Vorenus was always the more upstanding one, but dynamic has flipped. Vorenus, in his grief and anger and whatever, he's resorted to these terrible things that he used to refuse. And Pullo, Pullo's never been a beacon of morality. I'd say he's been loyal and a good friend, but never a beacon of morality. But he's uncomfortable with this, right? He doesn't want random violence. This is not a good place for him and his wife. They've got to go, especially now. I hope, they can reconcile at some time, but that's funny. I said this after the last discussion, or 2 discussions ago, the fight, then they apparently reconciled. Obvious it wasn't real. Now this, I'm saying it again. I guess we'll see. Oh, here we go. Let's see how this goes, eh?
I'm so sorry. Am I late? We have completed taking roll. A quorum exists. Excellent. Then, let us begin. Actually, not quite yet. I see that Cicero outdoes me in his tardiness.
Cicero is regrettably ill and unable to attend this session.
Uh-oh.
But he has an important matter to propose regarding my governorship of Gaul. Should I send my litter bearers to carry him here?
He did, however, provide...
Here we go. Okay, so I've been saying this whole episode, this whole drama with Octavian and Cicero and Antony and the governorship, this eventually blows up. We saw Cicero in that last scene. Wonder where he was going. Antony said, yes, I know Agrippa's been to see Cicero, but he would never go against me. Let's see what happens.
But he has an important matter to propose regarding my governorship of Gaul. Should I send my litter bearers to carry him here?
He did, however, provide me with a speech that he most urgently insisted be read into the rolls.
Then by all means, let us hear the words of mighty Cicero.
These being the words of Marcus Tullius Cicero.
Nice.
When I was a young man,
I defended our state. As an old man, I shall not abandon it. I give sincere thanks to Mark Antony, who has generously presented me with the most promising theme imaginable.
Uh-oh.
I address you directly, Antony. Please listen as if you...
Uh-oh.
Go on. Please listen as if you were sober and intelligent and not a drink-sodden, sex-addled wreck.
Uh-oh.
You are certainly not without accomplishments. It is a rare man who can boast of becoming a bankrupt before even coming of age.
Oh, everyone's leaving. They don't want to be here for this.
You have brought upon us war, pestilence, and destruction.
You might want to stop reading.
You are Rome's Helen of Troy. But then...
Go on.
Okay.
Go on. A woman's role has always suited you best.
Damn. Talk about shooting the messenger. Well, there's an open display of violence. Jesus
Write a note.
Christ. Well, you know, once again, I don't know if I don't think Antony literally beat someone on the floor of the Senate, but Cicero decided he would resist. Now, like I said in the show, he has been depicted as a bit of a coward. I think at times that could be true. I think more he likes to play that sort of moderating role, right? So he didn't often like to put himself out there. But in this instance, Cicero's decided, all right, I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to put myself out there. Antony, he's got to go. And that was a good scene to represent that. And, of course, Antony's reaction.
To Octavian. Caesar, rather. Tell him I have exposed Antony for the debauched rat he is. At this time, the Republic would be most grateful to accept Caesar's offer of assistance.
And we see here that Octavian, he begins going by Caesar, right? The name left to him by Julius Caesar, his adopted father, his posthumously adopted father. So, once again, he's stepping into that role.
He is. At this time, the Republic would be most grateful to accept Caesar's offer of assistance.
Mm-hmm.
We shall need his army at once.
See, Cicero can't resist Antony with just his words. He needs some men. And who has those men? Octavian.
The renegade Mark Antony has laid siege.
Okay, wow, so we have skipped a little bit. So we're doing a bit of a time lapse. So, what essentially happens is that Antony, he wants to govern the province of Cisalpine Gaul. And they don't want to give it to him. So he marches up there to try and take it over through force. I'm sure that's what they're about to tell us, but just to clarify, since we're not seeing a lot of this.
In Gaul, the renegade Mark Antony has laid siege to the city of Mutina. But salvation is at hand. The Senate sends an army led by the generals Perseus and Pansa. The noble patriot, young Caesar Octavian, joins our generals with his own legions to crush the rebels.
Oh, great performance. We love him.
We're not stopping. I just came to talk to Vorenus. Where is he?
He's not here.
And when's he back?
I don't know. He's gone. Went north with Mark Antony.
Went north?
Months ago. Well, Antony gathered his troops and set off to take Gaul. Vorenus went with him. Asked for special by Antony himself. left me in charge of a right old mess. Ever since we gave Carbo one up the arse, Kaylee and boys and their friends been going at us like fucking Belgians. We lost 10 men this last month. Come on, are you sure you're not stopping?
Like Belgians. Today, that's not a particularly dangerous threat, but at the time, you're talking about, you know, some of these scary barbarians in the mind of the Romans. That's, of course, always over-exaggerated, but, you know, there is some truth to that.
What? No. No, I just came to talk to Vorenus.
He's like, oh, okay. I see how it is.
What now?
I don't know. I don't understand it. The gods are playing tricks. Go back to Rome, they say. Talk to Vorenus. Then they hide him from me.
I get it. You want to make it up with your best bro. I do get it. I really do. But come on, man. Your life can't revolve around trying to find this guy. I'm sure you will eventually, but...
I did as I was told. If he's not here, he's not here. I can leave my letter.
Dear Vorenus, I don't fuck your wife.
Something like that.
Come on, bro. You've got Irene.
Let's be going, eh?
Try to live your life.
Let's get out of Italy. Civil war's coming again, looks like.
You people.
Is this the way, Trent?
Oh my god.
Don't you know me?
Is that Lydie?
Lydie?
Oh, she's not looking too good.
But you're all right. You're all right? Where have you been?
The children. The children are alive.
Now you've got to fight Vorenus. They're alive, but I'm not sure they're doing too good. Hey, there he goes. God, so much is happening.
Where's Octavia? Out with Jocasta. Excellent. She'll finally be able to enjoy my dinner in peace.
You don't want that. So has Octavian made his way back to the city? Is that what we're seeing here? I'm trying to get a grasp on the timeline. Oh, this little shit. Right, this would be a perfect time to kill Atia. Uh-oh.
What is this?
Sea urchins, Domino.
I don't care for it. What else is there?
A savoury stew of goose and root vegetables.
Bring me that.
This is interesting. Now, I don't actually know how Atia died in real life, so this might be the end of her. I don't know.
Still here?
Can't get enough of you, my love.
Oh, you sneaky little...
Come here.
I think he's gonna kill her. Because I think this might be it. What I know of Atia's biography, which isn't too much to be fair, is just that, you know, she's an important member of the family, of course. She didn't really want Octavian to assert himself in politics, you know, to take his position as Caesar's heir. She was worried. She thought it was too dangerous. You know, we have seen some of that in the series. But then I don't know when or how she passes. You know, I don't remember her being a big part of Octavian's story in real life from here on. So that's giving me some warning signs. You've got the eerie music playing. Bad sign. Does leave an unchallenged Octavian, however.
God.
You little... She's gonna get into a lot of trouble, and he's gonna escape, I believe. Oh, you're gonna end it there? Wow. So we gotta wait until next time to find out, eh? Sneaky. Very sneaky. Alright, another intense episode. These episodes, they always have me holding my breath as I wait to find out what has happened. Antony has left Rome, headed up to Cisalpine Gaul. Not in a good situation, as Octavian and Cicero both turn against him. And Cicero, including the Senate. We have Atia, perhaps her death, maybe not. I don't know how it's going to go. I really don't. I think, Octavian, actually, I said, was this Octavian's return to Rome? No, Octavian's going to be marching up to deal with Antony. So, we've got a lot of stuff. Plus, Pullo finds out that Lydie and the kids are still alive. Now, I think he has to go find Vorenus. I was saying, come on, Pullo, you gotta move on. But now it's like, nope, go back, go and find him. Vorenus is with Mark Antony. I thought it might be a thing where, Vorenus would be with Antony, Pullo would be with Octavian. Now Pullo's going to find Vorenus. Maybe it will be like that, I don't know. I think that's kind of a cool idea. It might somewhat mirror Octavian and Antony themselves, right? Sometimes enemies, sometimes allies, usually at each other's throats. But yeah, another great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can find all these reactions unedited and out early on the Patreon, which is linked down below. And if you're watching on Patreon, thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. And so with that, I hope you guys are all having a good day today, and I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.